Hi, my name is Natalia Gavlin and I'm an immigration attorney in New York City. Today I would like to tell you about the options available for U.S. citizens and green card holders who would like to petition for their family members. So just to begin, I would like to tell you that if you're a green card holder, you have fewer options as far as what kind of family members you could petition for. For example, as of right now, the only family members that you could petition are your spouse and your children who are unmarried and either under 21 or over 21. Although depending on the age of the child, they will fall under a different immigration bulletin category. For U.S. citizens, there are way more options. For example, U.S. citizens can petition for their sisters and brothers. They can also petition for their parents. And in addition, they can petition for their married children, whether or not they're over or under 21 years of age. There are some categories of relatives who are qualified as immediate relatives, meaning that these relatives do not need to wait for an immigrant visa number to become available, and they can immigrate to the United States faster. Immediate relatives include spouses and children who are unmarried and under 21 years of age of U.S. citizens. In addition, parents of U.S. citizens also qualify as immediate relatives. So if you file Form I-130, your process will be quicker if you petition one of your immediate relatives. If you're petitioning for someone who is not considered to be an immediate relative under the immigration law, you will have to wait for a visa number to become available. And to find out whether or not it's available, you will need to check with the Department of State Visa Bulletin, which is updated on a monthly basis. So, for example, right now, if you have petitioned, let's say, for an unmarried son or daughter of a U.S. citizen, they're processing cases that were filed on October of 2007, which means that if you filed your case, let's say, last year, you understand that you are further in line because cases that are being processed right now must have been filed in 2007. When you're filing Form I-130, sometimes you could also file for a green card application right away, meaning the relative, if they're present in the United States under certain circumstances, could adjust their status to that of a lawful permanent resident. But to make sure whether or not your relative qualifies for such an adjustment, you should contact an immigration attorney to make sure that, first of all, they're in a proper category of relatives who could adjust, and second of all, that there are no bars or inadmissibility issues related to your relatives. In order to file a petition for a family member, you need to fill out Form I-130, which can be found on uscis.gov. But you need to be careful how you fill it out and which supporting documents you submit, because if applications are incomplete or if the package of documents that you're filing is not complete, you will most likely be either the application will be sent back or you will get a request for further evidence in the mail from USCIS. So I would recommend that you consult with an attorney to make sure that you properly fill out all the forms and that you give USCIS all the necessary information to avoid delay in processing of your petition. In addition to the form, you also need to submit a payment to the U.S. government. For Form I-130, it's $420, which has to be paid directly to the government. If you're filing a petition for, let's say, your spouse, you need to pay $420, and you also need to pay that for each additional qualifying child if you're a U.S. citizen. Ironically, for green card holders, if you're filing for a spouse, their children are included under the application, and you only have to pay $420 once, and you do not need to make a separate payment for the children. Very often, clients who are about to become U.S. citizens, we tell them that sometimes it's better to file separate petitions and pay separate fee for each spouse and child, because as soon as they become U.S. citizens, they will need that and it will delay the process. So it's like these little nuances that you need to make sure you account for when you're filing your petition so that there are no issues. And if you have any questions, feel free to contact our office. Thank you.